Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Sebastian Garza, the host here. If we've not met yet, welcome to the Candle Business Pro podcast and YouTube channel. I'm happy that you're here. Today, we're going to talk about when is the right time to start hiring help. So hopefully this is going to be relatable for many of you as we go on this journey of starting a candle business. When is the right time that we need to hire other people to come in and help us? As a candle business owner, we are doing all kinds of things. We are wearing 50 different hats. We are doing the scent creation. We are doing the production, the testing. We are doing the marketing, the social media. We are updating the website. We are then fulfilling orders. We are doing wholesale to expand our business channels. We're doing the markets on the weekend for us and many people inside of our inner circle. People are doing fundraisers to grow their business. So many different opportunities out there, but we can only wear so many hats at one time and do so many things. So today I want to talk about when is the right time to hire someone, talk about some of the obstacles that you may face, and hopefully clear up some things to help you move forward with hiring your first teammate to help you in your business. So let's get into it. So let's first talk about why we struggle to hire someone. Usually it's because we don't know. We don't know how to set that up. We don't know what exact roles to hire them for. And also we, as creative people, we like to have control, right? We want to make sure that we have 100% control of what is happening in our business. We want to make sure that we're not putting out something that our customers may not want. We want to make sure that the social media posts are going to relate with our customers. The emails that we're writing are accurate. We like to have control. And that's just how it is for us, at least. And hopefully that's probably relatable for you. But here's the problem is we end up burning ourselves out or not being able to take on anymore. When you start to turn down opportunities, that means you are ready to hire. If you know of a really good market, but that weekend, you are going to be just too busy either doing fundraisers, doing pouring parties, or just doing production to get up to speed with what needs to be fulfilled to ship out to your customers. This means it's time to hire someone. If your customer service and your communication is lacking, that's really another tale that you probably need to bring someone on. Also, if your growth has plateaued. So when we start out, we can go on this nice little rise in our sales, right? We're going to start out at zero, and then we're going to start out, bringing in $100 a month, and then 500, and then 1,000, and then 1,500, and then 2,000. And you're going to get to a point where you're going to start to plateau. Your growth is plateaued. You're keeping up with orders. You are fulfilling everything. Your customer service is still at 100%, but now you can't grow anymore because you don't have the capacity to take on any more work. And that's a sign that you are ready to hire someone. You need to bring in someone to help you. Also, the mental load. The mental load that we take on, if you're starting to feel burnt out, that's another sign that you're going to have to hire someone. You're going to have to pivot, or you're going to kind of have to clean up, clean up your business. Maybe you're putting way too much time into a sales channel that's not working for you right now. For instance, when you first launch your website, it's going to take quite some time for Google to crawl it and to start analyzing the data of how customers are using your website, right? So instantly, you're not going to start getting sales. Now, you need to optimize it for SEO. We talk a lot about that in the inner circle. I actually have a workshop that you can take inside of there to get your website optimized. But it's not going to start, you're not going to get sales overnight. It's going to take time. You need to have tenuity on the internet. And so Google is going to monitor your page, is going to crawl it every 14 to 28 days and analyze the data. And then based on the results of that data, you may just keep moving up higher and higher on Google's results. But what's nice about doing SEO and doing your website, do it right away when you first start your business. And you don't have to make a lot of changes to it. You let Google take its time and realize it's going to take time. So you do not have to make all these changes up front. Get that out of the way, but there's other things that you do have to work on all the time. Social media posts need to be going out every day or every couple of days. You need to be in contact with your customers through email once or twice a week. You need to be continuously reaching out to do new fundraisers, to do pouring parties, depending on what type of business foundation you're building off of. There's all different ways to go to have a candle business. So you're going to get to a point where your mental load is, you're going to be burnt out. You're going to hit that growth plateau. And then now you're spending time on tasks that actually doesn't move your business forward. You'll hear people talk about working in the business versus working on the business. So if you're not familiar with that term, working in your business is doing that day-to-day stuff, making candles, packing orders, responding to the emails, writing the social media. Those things are working in your business. Those are the day-to-day activities that you have to do to stay afloat. Those things aren't growing your business. Growing your business is going to be doing wholesale and reaching out to potential new retailers and boutiques to get your candles in front of new customers. It's going to be reaching out to organizations to do fundraising partnerships with. Those are working on your business. You're working on growing your business rather than working in your business to keep it where it's at. So that's the difference between the two there. All right, so let's talk about the different stages of your business to where you're going to need to look at bringing on some help. Early stage help. This is going to be packaging, labeling, pouring parties, cleaning out the vessels, prepping wicks. That's the easy thing. We can have friends, family members, a neighbor to come and help you with those type of things. They don't take a lot of work. You can teach them what you know. You can teach them how to do it, and they can replicate that over and over again. So that's going to be rather easy to hire for. You don't have to commit to, extended amount of time with them. It can be more of an on-call basis. You have a family member, hey, come over and help me out for a couple hours this week. That is going to be the easy early stage help. Now, the growth stage, this is going to be more of the part-time production assistance where you're having people come in and actually helping you make candles, right? Whether it's 5 hours a week, 15 hours a week, it doesn't matter. Now it's more of they have to understand a lot more, right? You can't just teach them in an hour how to do those tasks. So that's going to be seasonal help for your markets. If you're doing markets and you want to hire someone on to help you do markets, so you can be in one city and they can be in another city. This is a fabulous way to grow your business. For the people that you have in those positions that are going to be out representing you, they need to be part of your brand. They need to understand your business in and out. You can't just find someone, in your social space to just take on that role occasionally. It has to be someone that's dedicated because we all know how markets are. When you are doing markets on the weekend, we are building a relationship with people. We are talking about our story. We're talking about how we started our business. We are talking about the ins and outs of the candles. Like, what is this candle made out of? What kind of wax is it? What kind of oils is it? Is it all clean? Is it natural? Is it vegan? All of those selling points that we might be using when we are promoting our products, potentially, we have to have someone in a position that is representing our brand where we're not there, that is doing, our brand justice. For a couple of reasons. For one, we want to make sure that whoever is representing our brand is doing it to the standards that we set. But also, if they don't know the questions to the answers people will ask them, they're likely not going to be able to sell those products as well as you would. And if your sales aren't going to be to where it would be if you were doing it yourself or close to it, it might not be worth the cost because there's going to be a market fee. You have to pay the person to be out there and sell, whether you're doing it on an hourly basis or a commission or a draw system. Lots of different ways that you can pay someone when you hire them to do a market, but you want to make sure that they are representing your brand in the best light possible. So something to keep in mind there. So this is part of the established stage where you're bringing on people that need to be in the business and understand the business more than just your neighbor that is putting labels on candles. Okay. That's the growth stage as we're going through and you're growing and you're having people helping you out here and there, but more on a regular basis, but very part-time. And then the next stage is going to be that established stage help. This is where you're having people on a structured schedule coming in and helping you, whether it's for production, whether it is just to handle all your customer service, all of your fulfillment. You can have someone that is just coming in when there's order, fulfilling your orders and getting them out. That's actually one of the areas that holds a lot of people back, because I know several candle makers that are inside of the inner circle that they're traveling nurses or they're teachers. They don't have the capacity always to go to the post office or UPS every day or schedule a pickup. They don't have, or they're traveling for work. And if you're traveling with work, it's going to be hard to fulfill your orders. We can't expect our customers to buy from us and have a week-long leeway for getting those orders fulfilled. In the day and age of Amazon, Macy's, these businesses that will ship out same day, we have to compete with them. If I go to a website and it's going to take 7 days before they're shipping me a product, I'm going to go look elsewhere for it. That's just the reality of our shopping habits these days. So keep that in mind. You've got to be able to fulfill right away. So bringing in someone to help you with just fulfillment might be something for you to look at. If you are you work from home and you can't have distractions, but you work too late to get to the post office, you may want to hire someone just to come by and grab your stuff and take it. Now with us locally, we live in a it's a small city, but it's a city to where the post office comes and delivers, to our house every day. That's all free. If you're shipping USPS, you can schedule a pickup from them for free. We use Pirate Ship, is the app to do all of our shipping labels. And right on Pirate Ship's website, as soon as we buy the label and print it off, it asks if we want to schedule a pickup. And you can hit schedule pickup. For USPS, it's completely free. For UPS, it's like a $3.50 charge. So keep that in mind. But if you are having packages delivered to your home often, generally, your UPS driver does not mind taking those packages that you have ready to go out to them. Luckily, we're to the point with our storefront now, we have UPS coming about every day. So they're always stopping by just to pick up packages, even if they don't have anything for us, because if they're not at our store, they're going to be at one of the stores surrounding us. So that's one of the benefits we have now. But you can do all of your fulfillment, printing of all your labels at home, have USPS pick them up from you. And then for your UPS packages, just take them to the UPS store. Walk in, cut in front of the line, and then just drop them off right at the counter. Keep in mind, you do not want to have your postage paid at UPS or the UPS store. It's going to be so much higher than doing it at home off of Pirate Ship or Shopify shipping. Print, package everything up yourself at home, and then just take it to them and then just drop it off. You can cut in front of the line, say, I don't need a receipt, set it on the counter. They'll take it from there. They're completely fine with that. You don't have to wait in line to go through the whole process of weighing it and asking how you want it shipped. Do all of that at home. Go in there and just drop it off. We also, here in our town, we have a lot of there's like pack mail for here in our town. The business is called the shipping department. These are small businesses that all they do is packaging stuff and shipping it out, right? They actually get paid a small percent or a small fee for collecting packages on behalf of UPS, FedEx, and the Postal Service. So they love our business of us just going in there, dropping stuff off, and then they're going to turn around and get it to those places. So that's free. And it's closer for us than going to the UPS store. So something to keep in mind. Look up like Pack Mail, I know is like a national chain. These are all places that are just like the UPS store, but they're not tied to a specific shipper. Even Staples may. Check with Staples and Office Depot in your town and see if you're allowed to just drop off packages there. It doesn't cost anything whatsoever when these are receiving companies that are going to, get them to where they need to go for you. And they're actually getting a little cut. That's how they create revenue. If you wonder, gosh, how does that business that's just packaging our stuff, how do they get paid? Well, they're getting paid for holding and delivering from the USPS, UPS, FedEx, DHL, all of that. So look and see if you have one of those local to you that you can drop them on for as well. So a few little areas there for fulfillment. So what is the shift? So the shift for us from going from just running our business ourselves is looking at what am I doing day to day that I can outsource? What can I give to someone else to do? And when you hire someone, don't think about just hiring someone locally. Don't just think about your neighbor, your family member, someone necessarily in your community. You can be hiring someone online as well. You can be using websites like Fiverr or Upwork. I prefer Upwork over Fiverr. The consultants on there, I feel are generally a little bit more filter. And I think that there's some requirements that are need to be fulfilled for them to be on that platform. So I just had much better luck with Upwork over Fiverr. But depending on what the task is that you need them to do, it may be beneficial, just to go on Fiverr if it's going to be really inexpensive. So what would I use those websites for? Social media would be a really good one. If you don't have someone locally that can do your social media, and that is, creating your images, your captions, putting all that together, creating videos for you, even photography. There's all different ways of using one of those consulting services that they could do the work for you. I'm not great at creating social media images and videos. Now, Chad does ours now because his workload has been less as we've hired on people in other areas. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But when we first started out, we hired people on Fiverr and Upwork, and for $50, they would create 50 social media assets. Now, the quality wasn't great on all 50 of them. We probably liked 25 of them, maybe. In fact, we still use some of those to this day. We repurpose social media stuff over and over again. It doesn't always have to be fresh. So we have stuff from 3 years ago. In fact, for our classic line of candles, that we have social media designs that people created on Fiverr for us that we will, just post out there when we don't have anything to post. We want to stay top of mind. We're going to post that. So you can get work on these services-based websites for pretty inexpensive. So we would have that for creating social media. You can hire people to help you with your website. Now, keep in mind, one of the big things that I always stress is if you don't know how the website backend works, you need to at least learn that, because if you use one of these websites and you have someone build out a website for you, you pay them a flat fee, which is usually going to be pretty high. Usually it's over $1,000, $1,500 just to have someone build out a storefront for you on Shopify. In a couple of months from now, when you need to make adjustments to your images, your titles, your descriptions, we're optimizing it all the time for SEO. If you don't know how any of that works on the back end, the admin side, then you're going to have to hire someone again to make those changes for you. So it's going to be an ongoing basis of hiring someone. So it's one of the very first workshops we do inside of the Inner Circle is I did a 3-part where I built out an entirely brand new candle brand website and took you through step-by-step how to connect with your bank account, how to get your EIN to put into your Shopify store. And then I also show you how we build our backend of our Shopify store as far as like tagging our products. So this is how you create a collection. And this is why I did it. I did it like this because we have fall candles. We have winter candles. We're going to have different scent notes, and we want to be able to create a collection around those. If you hire someone off of Fiverr, Upwork, or somewhere, they're not going to understand the intricacies of how we want to operate a candle business. So they might not be able to build that for you up front or recommend it to you. And the reality, we don't know what we don't know. These are all things we're going to learn on the journey. So I would recommend coming in and hanging out with us for $50 inside the Inner Circle, whatever the rate is, just to get that one workshop and build out your own website versus spending, a lot of money on that. So keep that in mind. You can certainly have someone build it out for you. There's a lot of services there. Be more happy with those services, but you may want to learn that skill long-term. If you don't want to learn the skill of making social media assets, totally fine. There are plenty of people to hire to do that. Inexpensive, plenty of people that can run that for you. Some other areas that we are now going to outsource. We outsource a lot of our customer service in our business of checking our email. So we have a virtual assistant that works very part-time for us, but they are making sure that we're not dropping the ball on anything customer service related. We want to give the best service to our customers. So we have someone keeping an eye on that. They can filter through our emails, making sure anything that's high priority we get. You can use websites to find a virtual assistant as well. So that's something you can reach out to me and I'll give you the recommendations that I'm using at this time. I've gone through a few different ones. And when I hire a virtual assistant, generally they're going to be from the Philippines, or I'm using a business now where the reps are from Latin America. And I'm having good success with that, mainly because of the time zones that we're on. We can communicate easier when they're on the same or close to the same time zone as us. With my VA that I've used from the Philippines, the work was good. There was a little bit more of a language barrier there and understanding our thought process behind why we communicate a certain way with our customers. So for writing emails on our behalf, it was a little tougher. But the big obstacle was just the time difference. When someone is working at, 8 a.m. their time and it's 6 or 7 p.m. my time, it's taking up my time in the evening that I want to dedicate to me and to my family, to my dogs, right? So something to keep in mind there. Hiring a VA is fantastic. The rates are usually pretty generally affordable, and they are good and they are skilled. So something to keep in mind there as well. And what's nice about hiring a virtual assistant is generally they're fractional, meaning 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. If you can hire a virtual assistant that's really good at creating social media assets for you, also knows the basics of Shopify, also understands how Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media platforms you're using, if they understand all of that stuff, that's a win-win because they can create your assets for you. They can send them over to you. You just say, yes, approved. And then they can go in, they can schedule them for posting, in whatever cadence you set them up on inside of all your social media platforms. They can also update your website for whenever you're running promotions, things like that. So getting a VA, which most any VAs that I've worked with, they're going to be pretty good at using Canva, or some of them are going to have like actual like Adobe and Photoshop and those type of skills as well. You're going to get what you pay for. You're going to have to pay a little bit more for some of those, but hiring a VA is not that expensive. It's definitely less expensive than hiring someone locally in your community is going to be. So that's an option for you there as well. All right, so you've decided you're going to hire someone and you've decided what role you want to hire them for. And whether it's 2 hours a week or 40 hours a week, you've decided, hey, I want to offload this task because it is taking up too much energy, mental space, or just time for me doing it. And it's not allowing me to put my time into other areas. For me, it's let me offload production so I can focus more on wholesale and growing my wholesale business. I can't hire someone that's going to do it as good as I'm going to do it in the method I'm doing it at. It's just simply how I feel. It's what we teach inside of our Mastering Wholesale course. I'm good at doing it. It's going to be hard for me to offload it to someone else. Eventually, I could get a salesperson that is skilled at doing that, but it's not a position to train someone on. Sales is a position that they need to already have that experience or qualities. I can't just, even with, we have 9 people on staff in our stores now. I'm not sure any of those, they all have very great skills in their respective areas, but I'm not sure any of them have that sales experience that I can say, hey, can you take over the wholesale growth department and growing our wholesale account? It's something that I want to take on. So I decided I'm going to keep that, but I'm going to offload production. I'm going to offload some social media. How do we get them set up for success for them and for us? So for me, it's simply having a checklist, writing out, document everything that you're doing right now. When you are, okay, I'm going to create a social media asset. Okay, what goes into that? Okay, well, I take a picture, of my products, and then I upload them to the computer, and then I drag them into Canva, and then I make the edits. And these are the fonts that I like. Here's my brand guide. You used to have a brand guide for all of this. Another plug for this, for the Inner Circle, we do brand guide creation in there. You give a checklist of exactly step by step of every single step in your process so that you can just hand that checklist to someone and say, hey, here are the steps. Go through these steps. Let me see if you understand this. And give it to someone that you're not hiring. Give it to a family member. And say, hey, can you do this for me? Let me see if this works for you. And keep refining that. Keep adding in the answers to all the questions they're going to have until you have that checklist. For us, we also call these SOPs because we do this for everything in our business. When we hire someone in, now that we have storefronts, we hire someone in, I say, okay, I'm going to teach you how to make candles. First thing I do is I have them go through our candlemaking course at Candlebusiness Pro. So that gives them the foundation. That's solid. They can now leave, they can quit and now go and take the skill somewhere else and go and make candles if they wanted to. But there's going to be difference of how I'm going to end up making my candle, the process. What's the process going to go in my stores? Okay. So I want my melters to turn on at 9:30 a.m. Staff arrives at 10. So, everything's on smart switches. I'm going to spend the first half hour cleaning out the vessels. So we have a whole SOP, which is a standard operating procedure. You probably heard of SOPs in any of the workplaces that you may have worked at before. It's just a guide of how to do it. I hand that to them after we do our orientation on day one and say, go through this, see if they make sense. I want 20, or I'll start with even just 6. I want 6 of this candle made. See if you can go through this SOP and make 6 of this sugar lemon candle. Let me know if you have any questions. And it's going to help to show them where everything is, right? Because they're going to need to know where all the supplies are. They're going to go on that whole journey of making candles. And then any questions that they had that come up, I will add those to the SOP. So every time there's a new person that I need to train on this, that SOP just gets better and better and better. Eventually, it should be to the point where I can hire people into my business and I could work from anywhere. And I could hire someone in and we could have a call and they should be able to go through all my documentation and run the business. That would be the ultimate goal. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of hiccups going from working in a store every day to not working in a store. There's going to be a lot of phone calls and things that are going to happen. And I'm explaining this on a much larger scale than maybe what we're working on right now with just hiring someone in. But document everything. You're going to be so happy that you did. In fact, one of the other things that I would recommend that you do especially when we're first starting out, is do this when you're first starting out. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get into such a routine of creating and scheduling social media, or setting up at markets, or producing candles. You're going to get into such a routine that you don't even think about those small little steps that you're actually doing, that you're going to forget to tell someone else. If you think that you may hire someone at some point, even if you don't think that you are going to let's say set up and sell your candles at a market, create an SOP for that. Create an SOP that says, hey, this is how much I will generally bring for any size market. This is a standard. This is how many candles. I want 6 of our top 5 sellers, or 12. I'll have a whole box of our top 5 sellers and then a half a box. So 6 of our next top 5 sellers, right? Whatever the breakdown for market are going to be for you. And then here's a market checklist of everything you got to bring, from pen and paper to your card reader, to tissue paper, to bags, to a stamp, to business cards, to the accessories. If you're going to have USB lighters, wick trimmers, the tablecloth, all of those things. We've all forgotten something, right? We've all shown up at a market and said, oh shoot, I forgot X, Y, or Z. And we're in such a routine of doing it that we didn't even check again, but we forgot that we took the card reader out of the tote, something like that. So having a checklist and then a step-by-step. Hey, here's photos of how I want our booth set up when we do these markets. You should be able to create a standard for your business to where you could hand a sheet of paper or a few sheets of paper to someone and say, hey, this is how we operate. This is how I do a market. Now you can book 2 markets, right? If you're confident in that person that's going to sell on your behalf, you now have a playbook for them to go out and do that. So creating SOPs or playbooks for your business is going to be huge. That is what I recommend doing there. Let them go through the process, and it's going to help them feel more confident as well, right? Whether it is the person that's just creating social media for you every week, or do you have a copywriter that you want to hire to do all your emails and get all of those sent out? Or is it a photographer? Anyone that you are going to possibly bring in, you want to give them the playbook, give them all the tools needed to complete the job at the level that you want them to do it at, but then also give them some freedom. If you brought them on for social media, let them have some creativity freedom, or creative freedom there to kind of present to you different ideas that might not have necessarily been something you had thought of. A lot of our growth isn't just from me saying, this is where the business is going to go and this is how we get there. We keep the blinders on and don't look around. It's at least allowing, okay, usually I do that. Usually I'm like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to get there. But I'm always open to feedback, and I always want to make sure that my team feels empowered to come to me with feedback. We have a VA that would help with getting our emails to our, if you buy our course, if you go to one of our courses or in the inner circle, I'm sending out emails all the time and just scheduling those and getting those out, It's one thing to have a virtual assistant that would help schedule and get those out. But if you have someone that feels confident in that role to where they see some typos that I made, or I type fast and the autocorrect doesn't always work. So having someone that feels empowered to say, hey, you know what, Sebastian, this is wrong, or hey, you messed this up, or hey, we should take another look at this, or hey, what are your thoughts about this or that, or you know what, I don't like the way that blend smells. I think it's too strong on the cinnamon, or it's too heavy on the lilac. Our team feels empowered they know what the expectations are of us, but we want their creative input on the business that we're building together. So keep that in mind. You want to make everyone that you bring on want to stay with you and want to grow with you. When we first start out, we only need them for 2 hours a week or 5 hours a month, but we want to make them feel good about that small role that they're doing for us, letting them know that they are making an impact on our business, because that's who you're going to want whenever you can scale up. When you can hire someone full time, you want it to be one of those people. They already have spent time with you. They already understand how you operate your business, and they're going to be a perfect person to step in and hit the ground running. So I would encourage you to take a moment, look at all the tasks that go into hiring someone. What are the tasks that you don't have to have the candle maker skill or creativity to do? Is it writing your social media copy? Is it writing emails? Is it updating your photography on your website? What is it that you can outsource? And how long does it take you to do those tasks? For me, it might take me an hour to create that social media graphic and the copy to go along with it, but I can hire someone that's a lot more proficient than I am, and they can do 3 in the amount of time it takes me to do 1. That's going to be a good hire, because then I'm buying my hour back that I can invest in other areas of my business. So take a look at your business, see where you would be thrilled with offloading, and make sure it's those tasks that take a lot of time, but not moving the business forward. Doing wholesale outreach, fundraiser partnerships, pouring party outreach, all of that is growing the business, and you should probably hang on to doing that for a while. There's so many other tasks that don't necessarily need to have someone that's in the business all the time. In fact, if you're terrified to outsource your production, meaning your blending of your wax and your oil, you're stirring for X amount of time, you're heating it to a specific temperature, pouring at a specific temperature, I get why it would be terrifying to just outsource that right away. But I can outsource easily someone to wick 200 candle vessels, which might take a few hours. Let me outsource that, pay someone that would be more minimal pay than the responsibility of full production. I can hire someone to do that. I can hire someone to come back after I've done the production, neighbor, family, to label all my stuff. Let me show them how it needs to be done, and I can trust that they're going to get it all done. That's labeling the front, putting the stickers on the bottom, boxing them up if need be, putting them into, onto your shelf. If you have a shelf where there's storage, or are you putting back into the vessel boxes they came out of? Whatever it might be, I would be much more confident in them doing all of that, but not doing the actual production part. So take a moment, look around, see what you can outsource, and give it a shot. Just try it. Hire someone for $50. What's $50? Is that going to be 3 hours of work? Is that 2 hours of work? Whatever that might be. Or think, you know what? I want to go out to Fiverr or Upwork. I want to see what kind of social media assets I can get back for $50. So go through, search, look at some of the results people have shown in their portfolio, some examples of the work that they've done. And they're like, oh, wow, they're going to create 10 social media assets for $50. Let me see if this is legit. Even if 10 aren't great, if 5 of them are great, now you've got 5 media assets for $50. That's a week's worth of posts. And again, with social media assets, it's one of those things that, okay, in 6 weeks, I can run those all over again, right? So you don't need to think about hiring that on for forever. You can reuse that over and over again. Like I said earlier today, we are still using social media assets that we bought from someone on Fiverr well over 3 years ago. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this makes you think outside the box of just going from just you to you and someone else running the business full time. You don't need to bring on someone full time. For that, you can, start very, very small. Start in increments and grow as your business grows. So you're doing fantastic. Another thing to keep in mind is you can hire people, as we wrap up here, you can hire people just on a consultant type of basis, right? They're a 1099. I don't want to dive into the payroll aspect of everything, but you do not need to worry about all the ins and outs of bringing someone on as payroll until they are an actual employee of your business. Look at just hiring consultant, task by task type of roles to keep it not complicated whatsoever. So hopefully this helped you out. If you've already started hiring people, comment below what the first task that you hired someone for was. That's going to help myself, all the other viewers and listeners to see some ideas that I have not brought up today of what are some fantastic roles for us to start outsourcing to other people. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, you can visit candlebusinesspro.com and check out our free downloads, lots of free resources and a blog out there for you to get a lot of knowledge from. You can also check out our courses. And if you're interested in joining the inner circle, you can check that out as well. Have a fantastic day. Bye.